Guys, what's up? Today I want to talk about human capital. Like there's 5 big investments in dentistry that you can think of. If you're a dentist, this is what you got to understand. There's 5 big investments. You got human capital, you got space of equipment, you got marketing, you got clinical duplication, and you got mastering your finances. But what I want to talk about today is human capital. And when you're thinking of human capital, yes, it's the greatest investment you can make, but that's not the spin I want to talk about it with. Human capital is amazing. Yes, you need to have good players. Yes, you need to have people that work for you that follow your process and systems. And yes, you need to be a servant leader. But what I want to talk about today is I want you to think of the analogy of a sports team. You can think of anything you've ever been in, any sports team you see, any sports team you've been a part of. It's never the most talented. It's always the team that works the best together. And so as you're building a business, in my years of dentistry, a little bit of a story, a little bit of a background is when I first got out of dental school, I always thought that dentistry was about my credentials and never about the team. I always thought it was about somebody else, they just do as I do, they got to do as I do, right? And there was no process or systems in place, and there's things that are not set up to really make us thrive. And so my practice wasn't really growing. And then I decided, okay, what am I doing wrong? Well, I started investing in human capital. And so when I started investing in human capital in the team, serving the team, training the team, getting the team to the next level, that's when you saw my practice try to scale and grow up. I mean, I'm talking grew $1 million in 1 year, $2 million the next year, to the point now where it's almost $4 million, starting at $750,000. Now it was a process. And even in that process, what I realized is that if you stop being consistent and you stop holding people accountable, as good as your team might be, they're going to always go back to their old ways. It's no different when people are working out in their body. They start the workout process. They might work out for 2 to 3 months, but then they always go back to the way of being comfortable. And like in your family, like the same thing, you start going well. When you're first dating your spouse or whatever, you get really excited and you do all the little things. You do all the little things so good. And you try to court them, right? You try to show them that you're better than what you are. But then once you get comfortable, what happens? Sometimes you put on some pounds. Sometimes you get a little bit lazier. You're not doing the small things. You're no longer dating your wife, or you're no longer dating your husband. And therefore, the relationship kind of just gets boring, right? Could be with your kids. Could be any relationship. You could also have a sense where, in your being life with Christ, you're not continuously growing and adapting and developing. And so you kind of became complacent. And then pretty soon you forget about even praying. And then your business life is the same thing. What we're really talking about with human capital is that it can scale and grow, but then it kind of just plateaus. It just kind of goes basic, if you will. And this part I want to talk about with human capital, the most important is you have to constantly train and evolve and get better talent. I've seen it. I've now coached and mentored, 10 to 15 dentists in consulting and in the last year, and it's always the same thing. They've been in business 15 years, 16 years, sometimes 10 years. Some are just starting out and they can't get their team to respond. And so first thing I got to ask them, are you investing in their human capital? Are you investing in their growth? Are you investing in the things that help them be better? Are you being a servant leader? And sometimes that's the answer. But let's say that the dentist is doing everything right and they got the processes, system in place, they're getting them to train. And it's happened in my own practice. I got to a level with this team, but to go to another level, sometimes you got to get rid of the team. And they're not. I can't get rid of this person. This person's too good. And what I want you to think about is, think of a sports team. It doesn't matter if it's the NBA and they won the NBA championship, or it doesn't matter if it's baseball and they won the World Series, or football, they won the Super Bowl, hockey, they won the Stanley Cup. Every single year, they're not even the same team. The team changes from year to year. They're either adding talent or they're subtracting talent. They're signing free agents or they're cutting people, right? And the problem we have in business is we can't separate performance from friendship. Most people can't. I mean, true dentists are just doing the task of dentistry. CEOs treat their business independently from their dental task, right? I'm the CEO when I'm not in the chair. When I'm in the chair, I'm the dentist, right? So how do you become it all? The biggest mistake I see people making is they hold on to the wrong talent for too long. And what ends up happening is when they do that, the high performers kind of rise to the level of the ship, right? I mean, or vice versa, they go down. The people that want to be successful, if they start out poor and they're against high performers, they'll rise up. But the high performer will never or rise up if there's bad performers, or vice versa. They'll try to carry the weight, but they get tired. If you're a fresh fruit and if you're a really good fruit, but you're around toxic fruit, you become toxic. It's not the other way around. The toxic fruit does not become fresh, right? The spoiled fruit doesn't come fresh. It's the other way around. And so what ends up happening is you keep these people that might have been with you 10, 15, 20 years, and you think, oh my God, they're great. And you keep them far too long. And then what ends up happening, you stay stagnant. You actually start dying. Your practice goes the other way. You became comfortable. If you want to scale and keep growing, eventually you got to cut some weight. Pretty soon, those people that were once fired up, they change in their process, right? They go from being young and hungry to kind of just being set in their ways and very comfortable. It doesn't matter if it's taking any aspect. You start feeling good about yourself, working out, and you start doing your things, and you stop those daily rituals and habits, you're not going to get the results you want. You're going to do the cheat meals. You'll start going backwards, right? You start cutting corners with Christ. Same thing's going to happen. You start cutting corners with your family life. You're not doing the small things you used to do, and you kind of go back. You're never going to soar or grow. You lose date night with your spouse. You lose date night with your husband. You lose the physical connection with your spouse. You don't do the one-on-ones with your kids. It's not going to nurture and grow. You got too comfortable. That's why most marriages and things end up in divorce. They're just too damn comfortable, right? And then business is the same way. People just get complacent and lazy. Let's say it the way it is. There's a reason why there's certain people that are 1%ers of the world in dentistry, and there's people that are not. The 1%ers don't get complacent. They don't stay comfortable. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're staying the same, you're dying. If you don't understand that this concept, think about inflation. If I'm making the same amount of money as I did last year, I'm actually behind $11,564. I think they said you got to generate $11,564 more dollars more this year just to maintain your same lifestyle as you did last year. Politicians are doing great, aren't they? I mean, think about that, right? But this happens in business. The cost of business is going to go up. So if you don't scale up with it, you're not going to do it. So back to the sports analogy, if you don't start cutting people on your team that aren't doing their job, they become cancer cells. And unfortunately, maybe it's because I'm in the health field industry, one cancer cell can spread and metastasize and now destroys the whole body. That will happen in your business. If you get too complacent, you will destroy things in your business. So at the end of the day, when you're talking about human capital, when you're talking about certain things, you need to say, do I have the right humans in capital on my team? Do I have the right team to take me to the next level? Is there somebody on my team that I need to cut? Is there somebody I need to hire in to add new talent? You don't have to change the whole team. You got to shake up the team. The team that didn't win the Super Bowl, the Lions, are one of my favorite teams, right? They lost in the NFC Championship. Do you think they're sitting back right now just trying to figure out, hey, how do we just keep the same team? No, they're going to a draft. They're getting new talent. They're getting rid of some people that didn't maybe fit their system. They might have been great last year, but they know they didn't go to the promised land. No different than the Kansas City Chiefs, who keep reinventing themselves and winning Super Bowls. You always need to add talent, and you need to get rid of the bad people that aren't serving you. Hope this message helps. So that was a different spin on human capital. And we'll keep talking about this as time goes on. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and DM me at Bobby Grassi DDS on Instagram. You can go to my Facebook page. You can go to the info@thedentistco.com. That's an email. You can go to drbobby@thedentistco.com, or you can go to just thedentistco.com, period. So hope this message touches your heart. I hope this is giving you the insight to know what you have to do to take your practice to the next level. We'll talk soon. Have a great day.